Stay in Woburn. I'm your host, Samantha Stone, and I'm hot because summer has come back, and I'm hoping that this passing rain cools off a little bit, but I'm excited to catch up with our mayor as always, and then we're going to talk Horn Pond Concert Series and all the great stuff happening there. Welcome, Scott.
Hey, Samantha, how are you?
Good. So we will not be connecting next week because of the July 4th holidays. And I'll be away on vacation that week. But what do you got planned for the 4th? Are you doing anything fun and special?
I'll be local. I'll be local. I've got vacation planned for the end of July and then one in August. So, I'll be around. I know it'll be quiet in Woburn. It's usually a ghost town. There is the road race, the Feeney 5 on the 4th of July. There's usually a good turnout for that. So I'm looking forward to that run and, I'll hang around the house, around the pool and keep myself busy.
That sounds lovely.
Yeah.
It sounds great. Awesome. And there are, for those who do want to around, there are lots of towns around that have awesome fireworks and stuff really near us. So
that's right. Yeah.
In the mood, they can do that. One of the things that I saw a notice that came out on the city website, and it's probably been published elsewhere as well, that we are actually in a drought, including Woburn. And I wanted to just give a moment to sort of get from you. I know there's lots of good, valuable information on the website. People should go check that out. But at a high level, what does this really mean for residents?
Well, I mean, one of the things it's been like this for the past 2 or 3 years when we've had a drought, and it wasn't historically that bad in the past, but now it is becoming more and more of a drought area in the summertime consistently. So, we'd ask people to conserve on their water, particularly watering their grass. If they, and look at, we're not metered, so there's not an incentive for people to conserve. So that's something we're going to be looking at. We're upgrading our commercial meters. We'll be talking about the residential meters as well. But we ask people to conserve, particularly when it's raining. It is kind of a little bit of people's pet peeve when you drive around and the sprinklers are on when it's raining. And I know sometimes you forget to turn it off. Sometimes I do, but I have the sensors on mine, and I also I'll turn the sprinkler off at certain times. But I get it. When people want the green lawn, but it's nice to cut back on your water usage. So that's all we're asking people to do. Other cities and towns around do institute a water ban. That's not out of the question for us to do that. And we'll take that into consideration too.
Great. Thank you for the update. And, the lawns is actually sort of a relatively painless thing for us to do to help conserve water.
Sure.
And that, keep us from taking more serious measures that sort of affect day-to-day operational types of things. So that's great. Thank you for that.
And the meters are always something that, we install the meters, and, we had that mandate years back from the DEP to put them in. So, we'll be looking at that too at some point.
Yeah. And, without the meters, it is hard for people to know what they're using, right? So it takes now sort of a more conscious effort to just be sort of aware of it and sort of thinking about it and tracking it. I'm watering my garden because I'm hopeful to have vegetables this year, but we don't water our grass. That's not new, and probably laziness on my part, if I'm being honest. But the benefit of that is that I'm not using a lot of water to maintain.
And there are a lot of, like you said, there's a lot of good materials on the city's website about different things, and the gardening is great. It's important to grow your own vegetables, and I don't do it, but I know a lot of people take a lot of pride, and we have the community gardens, which are a great success for the residents of the city. But they're like rain barrels. You can always try the rain barrels, and there are different ways. And
take a shorter shower, right? There's lots of ways that we can conserve water without necessarily being super disruptive to our lives. Instead of putting in a small load of laundry, wait till you can fill it up. Or some washing machines today are smart enough to adjust water filling rates and things, but there's lots of little things, and the site has great information. So just make sure to check that out. Also, we saw the good news that Cummings Foundation gave a grant to the police department for drones. And I'm sure we'll have Chief Rufo on to tell us a little bit about how they're going to be used. But is there any sort of, off the top of your head usage for those that we're particularly pleased about?
I'll let the chief get into that. I know on the city side with the engineering department, they use them very effectively for different things. So I'm sure that the chief there'll be some things he'll want to talk about and some he won't, but he'd be the better source to talk about their plans for the usage of drones.
Good. And then the last question I had for you, Scott, I noticed that the school building feasibility study went to RFP. And I did not have a hard time sleeping, so I did not read the entirety of the RFP. But at a high level, tell us a little bit about what we're looking to do feasibility around. I know there's a lot of talk around middle schools, for example, and rezoning because of new apartment buildings have comes up. Is all that part of this process?
That's all part the redistricting. That's
I
part
said
of it.
Rezoning.
Rezoning.
I didn't really that. Thank you.
All right. I know what you're talking about. I'm sure everybody else did too. But they'll look at redistricting. They'll look at the age of some of the schools, all the different. Of course, they'll be looking closely at the two middle schools and what needs to be done there. They'll be looking up in North Woburn at the Alta Vista and the Linscott, and then the newer schools we built, which believe it or not, some are over 20 years old. Like the Reeves School is 20 years old, and it's a great school, but there's some of the structures need to be addressed. So that'll all be part of it. And the school committee put aside $600,000 for this. So it's going to be a very robust feasibility study, and it'll lay out some of the capital needs. Sometimes they're usually very aggressive, Samantha. So people their expectations need to be tempered. It doesn't, just because it's all in there doesn't mean we're going to be spending that. It's just they identify, and we'll look at what we can knock off first, and go from there. But it's definitely a good exercise, and there'll be some real good information that comes out of it.
That's great, and it's certainly those studies help us prioritize what we do in what order. So that's helpful. Awesome. That's great. Well, I wish you a fabulously relaxing run and forth. Is there anything else you want to cover off before I let you go?
A little bit talk about an update on city finances. We're working on contracts. We settled we settled another contract this week with the DPW. So we're knocking them off. We still have the police to deal with, and the library, who we haven't started with, but we're looking forward to that. And, as the teachers are in their last couple months of the contract. So we're working on trying to get that one done as well. But we've done pretty well, and, treating the employees very well, and also keeping an eye on the tax side too. So it's been a good process to this point.
Good. Well, thank you for that update. It is really important. We want to keep the city functioning well. And we know that there's a lot of people who work really hard in all of these places across the city.
Yes, they do. Yep.
Awesome. Thanks, Scott. I really appreciate you joining me.
Okay, Samantha. Thanks. Bye.
Next up, David Crowley. We're going to talk about one of my favorite summer things to do in Woburn, which is our Horn Pond Concert Series. But I'd be remiss if I didn't say congratulations and thank you to you and the entire team who did a really incredible Juneteenth celebration. Was it just last week? Feels like
a little over a week. We did it on the Saturday of before the official holiday was observed on the Monday the 20th, but of course June 19th is the actual date. But we're actually locked in now. Third Saturday of June, we've decided every year just to keep things simple, and it was a great event. So big shout out and thanks to everyone who helped. The mayor's already left, but he was very supportive. My colleague, Phil Gordon, was the leader of our committee, and we had a great committee of very dedicated volunteers. And as you know, to make these community events go, you need a lot of hands to make it happen. And we definitely had that, and also pretty good weather too, which never hurts. Yeah,
it was really wonderful. I was there, and I met a family who was thinking of moving to Woburn. They just and I said, "Oh, did you have?" They just happened to stumble upon us. They were sort of checking out the area and such, and it was such a great treat for them to be visiting from out of town and see the community come together in this way.
Yeah, that was a great day.
Let's talk music, and let's talk Horn Pond Concert Series. When are we kicking them off? It's coming up soon.
Yeah, it's coming up very soon, July 8th. So a week from Friday. So is our first concert, July 8th. And I know we have our kickoff artist with us today too. So I don't want to steal her thunder, but we're looking forward to Mary Beth Mays kicking things off on July 8th.
Yeah, I'm super excited about it. And for those, these are in the evening. What time do they usually start?
Yeah, so they always run from 6 to 8 p.m. and they are at what is called Ice House Park, which not everybody knows where it is. That's on Sturgis Street, or alongside Sturgis Street, the big grassy area. Grass is getting a little brownish given the drought you're just talking about with the mayor. So one thing, as just thinking of that, definitely encourage people to bring a chair or a blanket to sit on, given that, the grass might be a little prickly depending on how dry it is between now and then and that sort of thing. So.
Yeah, well, and it also will help you avoid the goose and duck droppings that sometimes tend to be in that area. So definitely bring a blanket, bring a picnic dinner, some cold drinks, keep yourself hydrated. I've really enjoyed them. I've been at times that I love, I see kids running around playing Frisbee and people sitting together and enjoying music and just kind of chilling out. It's a great way to kick off the weekend.
Yeah, it's a great time. And the Friday tends to be a good evening. If some people still might be going away, leaving on Saturday or doing things for the weekend. So gives you a chance to still check it out and see a great performance and connect with folks. And especially, I know more community events are starting to come back, as we were just talking about with Juneteenth and other things happening. But of course, for so long, things were canceled. We've done this every year since 2003, except for 2020. Like much of everything, the concerts were canceled in 2020. We thought we might be able to get them in, but we did bring them back last year. We had to take more. We were still in that fairly cautious mode last summer, but we only missed 1 year due to COVID.
Well, we're grateful for that. And it is a really great way to evening. The full schedule is on SCI's website. And if weather doesn't cooperate, where do people look for an announcement to see if things are proceeding forward or being postponed?
Yeah, definitely. They can look at our website, which is sciwoburn.org. Also, a great idea is we have Facebook events created for each of the 4 concerts. So I'd encourage you to go RSVP. If you're not sure, just say maybe. It's not like we're ordering food for you, no offense. So, but if you hit, that you're interested in it, then you get those updates because we would certainly post there as well. And typically we do set a rain date. The rain dates are generally the following Friday. So that's something to keep in mind too. And we'll be posting all those updates both on Facebook and on the website.
That's great. And tell me how musical performers are selected. I know that this is an ongoing series and you've worked with some folks like Mary Beth before, and I know sometimes you introduce new acts. How does that happen?
Yeah, we have a small committee that has done it. It's been a lot of the same people for a number of years. In fact, we'd welcome, it's late for this year, although there are things people could do to help out during this summer, but if they'd like to be on our committee next year, we'd definitely be interested. But one thing we did this year that was great was I think you saw it because we posted on, a few places, including the Woburn Residents group on Facebook for ideas. And I'm really excited this year. So we have 4 acts. We have 2 that are returning favorites like Mary Beth, as well as Boston Rovers, which does Irish music. But we have 2 new acts, and both of them were sourced from people suggesting them. We got a lot of suggestions. I think we must have gotten at least a dozen different suggestions. So then the committee would kind of go through and listen to, sample music from each of the suggestions people had. And one of the things we're looking for is, sometimes they're a band. We do look for people that are playing fairly regularly because 2 hours is a fairly long, you need somebody who's got enough music and enough sort of presence, I think, to keep a group folks engaged for that long. So, so we try to check out the bands. And sometimes, we got recommendations. People have seen bands live. That always helps. So
that's great. And also, this is a pretty family-friendly audience as well. So I'm sure that is part of the factor in checking things out as well.
Yeah, definitely. One of the great things about the event, it's definitely very multi-generational. We definitely have a lot of, as you're, I think, alluding to when we're chatting, young kids running around, but definitely a lot of folks, sometimes people from places like New Horizons, the retirement homes, sometimes they'll bring a van down. So we do get quite a range of ages at this event, which is nice to see. And we pick bands with that in mind. That said, one idea we've had, I might just throw out there while I have the floor and the mic is, we've had the idea of having a night when we have maybe several younger, bands, either from high school age or maybe recent high school grads. And for various reasons that just hasn't come together. But again, that's another thing. If somebody wanted to get involved, again, not for this summer, but for 2023, would be happy to have help, organizing a night like that.
That would be amazing. I think that would be really fun to check out some new talent in town and give them an opportunity. And maybe they don't have 2 hours set of music to play, but they've got a couple of great hits that they can share with us. So that sounds awesome. So somebody, not me, because I have no musical talent. I guess you don't really have to have musical talent to help out with this, but I hope somebody steps up to do that, because I think that would be a great opportunity to embrace it. That's fantastic. Well, thank you, David, as always. I'm really thrilled to introduce Mary Beth. I'm so glad that you're joining us, and I know you're our first performer this July. Tell us a little bit about your music for those folks who haven't had a chance to see you perform before.
Yeah, so I work with preschool age children, and I also work in nursing homes, assisted living. I do a wide variety of music. So I take all of what I do and I put it all together in one night. So I'll go from the Wheels on the Bus to Elvis to Bon Jovi, and I have things for the kids like Bubbles and Lays, and I keep it interactive. My daughter usually comes to help out, and she'll pass out things for people. And I like to keep it interactive, fun, upbeat.
Yeah. I love it. Well, that sounds like a ton of fun. Tell me a little bit about what inspired you to start performing. Music is obviously an important part of your life, and you get to entertain us. How did that all start?
My dad sang. He had a beautiful voice, so there was always music in the house. So when I was probably about 8, I started in the Woburn Public School system, singing in choir, singing in plays, and I continued through to my senior year of high school in the Woburn Public School system. They had a fabulous, really strong music program, and I had the love and support of my mom and my dad and my brothers, and I just kept doing it. I never really stopped. So here I am. I won't tell you how many years later, but many years later, still doing it and loving it.
We're glad you're coming back to Woburn.
I am too.
And you have such a variety of music that you'll be bringing with you and entertaining. What keeps you kind of inspired? Like, how do you pick the stuff that you're not just at the Horn Pond, but sort of all the places that you go?
Inspiration. I would say for the kids, using what is going to motivate them to learn, watching them respond, listening to different artists, listening to different, old school radio stations. Like I listen to 740 AM, and I get a ton of inspiration from that. People requesting things. An older gentleman would come up to me and say, "Hey, can you throw in some Johnny Cash next time you come back?" It's all in what people want, what works, which inspires me to learn new stuff and to write as well.
Excellent. Yeah. I love it. So will you be playing any of your own music while you're there?
I will. I have a full length children's CD that I just finished. My husband has a studio, and believe it or not, it took us 3 years to do it during COVID. So I will be. Yep.
That's fantastic. Well, we're thrilled to have you, and very excited to have this opportunity to have live music performed for us in the city. For those who haven't been before, it is a totally free event to participate in. SCI does host it for us, and it's a great opportunity to just get out in the community and hang out in the evening and and enjoy. Like I said, you can bring a picnic if you want to. You can just show up. Nana Betts isn't far down. I usually use it as an excuse to get an ice cream with my husband before, after, and I look forward to seeing many of you there. Thank you for bringing your talents to Woburn for us. And Woburn, as always, please continue to take good care of each other.